So Miss Yolanda, well, the team here, let us know.
Are you ready?
Okay, Miss Yolanda, roll call.
Since this meeting will begin shortly, please stand by. Mayor Cantrell.
Present?
Councilmember King. Director Pacho.
Here.
Director Duplessis. Director Kennedy.
Here.
Director Cole.
Here.
Director Howard.
Here.
Director Anthrop.
Here.
Director Thomas.
Here.
Director Scruggs.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Okay, very good. Thank you all so much. And just for your patience, talking about our public. Prior to getting started, I just wanted to say thank you to the board, to our employees, to our residents, but just, for what we've been able to accomplish in a very short period of time, I would say, a little over 7.5 years. But when you think about where we've come from and where we are today, it couldn't happen without the team, and of course, without this board staying focused and diligent on getting the work done. Relative to the power complex, we've cut that ribbon on yesterday. And as I was reflecting on it, so much had to be done to even prepare ourselves for the power complex. And we made sure from the frequency changers to the water hammer to the rack to all of these things, the EMD, all of these things that we had to do, but we have gotten things done. So the power complex, the smart meter installation, the drainage repairs and infrastructure investments, again, just transformative. The JIRR work that we were able to do in consultation in partnership with the City of New Orleans, and of course, hazard mitigation, green infrastructure. So we have done a great job. There's so much more to do, but we have to pause and reflect on the progress. And I believe that the board is in a great position and the foundation has been laid to continue to move our utility forward. And I'm just so proud. So as I talk about and I mention our employees, there's one that I would like to acknowledge and single out on today, but it is not in isolation of all of the hardworking men and women of our utility. But we do have someone, and Dexter Joseph, please come forward. All right now, Dexter, give him some love. All right, now, I'm acknowledging Dexter, but I tell you, it can reverberate, I would say, throughout our utility about the hardworking men and women who hold this city down by continuing to stay focused and doing the work. I'm gonna sit down because this mic is here. I know I'm loud, but I'm still. But this is a proclamation, and it reads, and listen, Dexter has his family here, his mother. Mother, please stand. Mother is a mother to 3 strong sons who have all served the city of New Orleans in their own respective rights. Of course, Dexter, 35 years with this utility, 35 years New Orleans Police Department, and your brother?
It's been entrepreneur serving the public for 38 years.
Business community, 38 years. So, Mother, great job. And you're going to hear why. Great job, Mother. City. So whereas Dexter Joseph began his professional journey with demonstrating a perseverance, but by demonstrating and persevering, working a blue-collar job at the Trailways bus station while attending college part-time for 8 years to earn his Bachelor of Science in Accounting from the University of New Orleans, graduating May 1990 at the age of 35. And whereas on October 15th, 1991, Dexter began his public service career with the City of New Orleans, our Civil Service Department, as an entry-level internal auditor, and through hard work and dedication, advanced to senior sales tax auditor, ultimately earning his CPA designation and rising to serve as our Assistant Bureau Chief and later Assistant Comptroller in the Department of Finance. And whereas in May 2005, Dexter returned to the Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans as Planning and Budget Director just months before Hurricane Katrina. And he remained a steadfast leader in the city's recovery and continued his fiscal stewardship. And whereas, throughout his 34 years of dedicated service, Dexter Joseph has exemplified integrity, professionalism, and mentorship, sharing his expertise with colleagues and students and in his role as supervisor, supervising classes and proudly reminding them of the honor to serve their mama and them. Embodying the spirit of the city of New Orleans, perseverance, community, and public commitment to service that strengthens the city of New Orleans through and through. And Dexter and I go way back to community service when I was serving the city, so I know he hasn't changed. And you won't. Good job, mama. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, LaToya Cantrell, Mayor of the city, do hereby recognize and commend Dexter Joseph for 34 years of distinguished service, leadership, and devotion to the city of New Orleans, largely through the Sewage and Water Board. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you, Dexter.
Thank you,
And
Mayor.
thank you all. Dexter
you,
wanted me
board.
to give him that, and you got it.
Thank you.
All right. Now, Ms. Yolanda, so what we'll do, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting, which was November 19, 2025.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Pacho. Seconded by Director Thomas. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Hearing none, we have officially adopted the minutes from November 19, 2025. We'll now move into our committee reports, and we'll start with Director Kennedy with the Governance Committee. And you will provide November and December.
Thank you. The Governance Committee met on November 17th in the Carrollton Plant Auditorium. The meeting convened at approximately 9:04 a.m. Present were myself, Directors Scruggs and Thomas. Absent were Directors Howard and Cole. We went into executive session, exited the executive session with public comment from Ms. Angela Kinlow, a local resident. She expressed concerns about prioritizing a more efficient drainage system and efforts to eliminate water-related issues that are affecting individuals who struggle to pay their bills, particularly in context of contesting a bill. Being no further business, there was a motion to adjourn, and we did so at approximately 10:44 a.m. The Governance Committee again met on Thursday, November 20th in the Executive Boardroom. The meeting convened at approximately 11:07 a.m. Present were myself, Directors Howard, Scruggs, Cole, and Thomas. The meeting went into executive session and exited. Being no further business, we had a motion to adjourn, and that meeting adjourned at approximately 12:38 p.m. The Governance Committee again met on Tuesday, December 2nd in the Executive Boardroom. That meeting convened at approximately 11:02 a.m. Present were myself, Directors Howard, Scruggs, Cole, and Thomas. We went into executive session and subsequently exited. Being no further business, this meeting was adjourned at approximately 2:50 p.m. And again, the Governance Committee met on Wednesday, December 10th in the Executive Boardroom. The meeting convened at approximately 9:02 a.m. Present were Directors Cole, Scruggs, and Thomas. Absent were myself and Director Howard. The meeting went into executive session. Exiting executive session, there was no further business, and that meeting was adjourned at approximately 9:54 a.m.
Okay, thank you very much. So a lot of work, Governance Committee. Thank you all so much, for your time and your dedication. We can adopt these in global, Ms. Yolanda? Okay, so we need a motion to adopt and accept the Governance Committee reports as presented by Director Kennedy.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Howard, seconded by Director Scruggs. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, we've officially adopted the governance committee reports, and we'll move now to operations. Director Howard?
Maybe Director Cole should give it since I
Okay.
wasn't there.
Very good. Thank you.
Oh, you don't have it, huh?
All right. The Operations Committee met on Wednesday, December the 10th in Executive Boardroom, convened around 10:05. Present were myself, Director Duplessis, Director Thomas. Absent were Directors Howard and Kennedy. We did have one presentation item. Ms. Rebecca Johnsey gave a presentation on meter tampers, hydrants, remote shutoff, and backflow. Key initiatives were being taken by the utility to improve the organizational process, the reviewing and refining cross-functional workflows, updating sewage and water board policies, and sharing the utilities website for consumer awareness and training. The bulk of the presentation centered around penalties for tampering, intentional and unintentional. And we adopted a resolution number R179, 2025. Director Duplessis seconded. Director Thomas moved to accept it. That related to the fees and increase in the fees for tampers. That motion passed. And then we had a presentation from Mr. Callahan regarding the 2026 holiday calendar. Director Thomas moved to accept resolution R197, 2025. Director Duplessis seconded, and the motion carried. We did have one public comment from Mr. Jesse Perkins. He's a local resident, former Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans employee. He shared comments and concerns regarding drainage. No further business coming before the Operations Committee. I made a motion to adjourn, and Director Thomas moved that motion. Director Duplessis seconded. The motion carried, and the meeting was adjourned at 10:49 a.m.
Okay. Thank you, Director Cole. So he has presented the Operations Committee report, and I would ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Thomas,
Second.
seconded by Director Duplessis. Any questions? Hearing none?
Quick question.
Yes.
Should that resolution be on the agenda for today? For the holiday calendar?
It was adopted at committee, so it should come to the board for official approval.
Yeah.
Is that prepared? Are we prepared to do that on today?
Team?
I don't see that.
Agenda, so-
It's not on the agenda, so that will go on the next agenda.
That'll go in January. We can go
Yes,
January.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Hunter. Okay, so it's been moved and it's been seconded. We've entertained a question. All in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, we've adopted Operations Committee. And we'll now move on to audit, and I know Director Cole, that's you.
Thank you. The Audit Committee met on Wednesday, December the 10th, 2025, in the Executive Boardroom. The meeting convened at approximately 10:55. Present were myself and Director Duplessis. Absent were Councilmember King and Director Anthrop. We did not have a quorum, but entertained a presentation item from Mr. Ed Sutherland. He gave us the fourth quarter audit update. The fourth quarter audit update included a culmination of QA/QC review of utilities fixed fee billing. Is an advisory engagement that was included in the 2025 audit plan due to the passage of House Bill 965 of the 2024 legislative session and subsequent requests for bill recalculation support from Customer Service Department. The internal audit conducted recalculations for 5 batches of bills throughout the year, with the final batch completed by the end of the third quarter. As smart meter installations have reached substantial completion, fixed rate billing is now nearing its conclusion, with only 364 accounts still receiving fixed rate bills. Mr. Sutherland also reported that the Service Connections and Inspections Review is in the management response period. The Act 393 review is in the testing phase, and the Vehicle Rentals and Leasing Review is underway, and records retention efforts are ongoing. The Audit Committee did recommend that we review the utilities' usage of heavy equipment specific to lease versus purchase. And Mr. Sutherland indicated that it would be included in the next audit plan. All right.
Okay, very good. Well, a lot of good, healthy discussion. And also just a testament to the smart meter installation, and it's doing exactly what we said it would do from the start. But to see that,
Man, we're right there.
we're right there. So we do have a audit committee report that we need to adopt officially. We need a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Duplessis,
Second.
seconded by Director Howard. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? All right, we've officially adopted audit, and we'll move now to finance. And Director Howard?
Yes, the Finance Administration Committee met on Monday, December 15th at approximately 9 a.m. Present were Directors Howard, Pacho, and Scruggs. Absent was Director Kennedy. Our Chief Financial Officer, Gray Lewis, presented the 2025 financial results for October, and as well as the liquidity position. Then we went on to a report on the billing and collection, where 98% of the bills issued in October included meter reading. I think another mention of that. There were new discussion of new payment arrangements and service disconnects. We're still at 64% of past due customers enrolled in Promise Pay. And then billing disputes went through HGI were approximately 837,000. Cash on hand was 95 and 178 for the sewer and for the water and the sewer systems. And there was a Sewage and Water Board responded to the formally to the city's letter requiring payments. And then there was a report on minor drainage funding. The utilities received approximately $7.9 million through August as part of the fair share funding. The main item for the day was the fiscal year 2026 operating capital budget presentation. And the draft budget, which is coming to the board today, includes $280 million for operations and maintenance, $52.6 million for debt service, and $32 million for pay-go. It represents a 3.7% increase over the 2025 budgeted amounts. The budget presentation also included information on personnel, debt service coverage requirement, and the utilities capital program, and a discussion of the limited bonding capacity due to stagnant sewer and water rates. The general superintendent gave his report, and there were the contract renewals for Resolution R-151-2025, R-166-2025, R-167-2025. Director Pacho moved acceptance of these, and Director Scruggs seconded. The motion carried. There was one contract amendment, R-168-2025. Director Pacho moved to approve the contract amendment. Director Scruggs seconded, and the motion carried. Contract change orders by ratification included Resolution R-169-2025, R-170-2025, R-175-2025, R-176-25, R-177-2025, and R-178-2025. Director Scruggs moved to accept contract change orders by ratification, and Director Pacho seconded. The motion carried. One miscellaneous item, Resolution R-159-2025 was the authorization of the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between the City of New Orleans and the Sewage and Water Board for improvements to the Monticello Canal. Director Pacho moved to approve, and Director Scruggs seconded. The motion carried. There was one public comment from Sage Mitchell, a resident of New Orleans East, who requested additional information regarding sewer discharge at Dwyer Canal and air pollution in the New Orleans East area. There being no further business to come before the committee, Director Howard made a motion to adjourn. Director Scruggs moved, and Director Pacho seconded. The motion carried. The meeting was adjourned at approximately 10:34.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I know that the agreement with the City of New Orleans relative to reimbursement, that has not been brought to the board for approval just yet. As I mentioned at our last meeting, that is a work in progress, going very well. However, an official agreement has not, again, been brought to this board, so therefore, nothing has been solidified, but working towards that. In addition, in the minutes you talked about bond, covenants relative to our bonding capacity, and just making sure that, and I know we've been focused on this as a board relative to the millage and the expiration of that millage coming up in '27. So it means that action has to happen in 26 relative to the millage approval. Not just because we definitely need the resources, but it also can jeopardize our bonding capacity and what we've already bonded out. So those are just things to always think about because it's complex and sometimes things get oversimplified without a real understanding of the challenges or things that we have to adhere to legally. So bonding, it's a real thing. And again, the renewal for 27, that's coming up. And you have to act in 26 to be ready for 27. And we don't want what we saw in 1991. Millage wasn't approved, which this contributed to a lot of the issues that we're having today. So there are consequences. But I believe that with the work that we've been able to do, building confidence in the community, that's what our focus has always been, by doing the work. So my hope is that people see that and continue to fund our utility because the city depends upon it in every way. So we need a motion to approve the Finance Committee report as presented by Director Howard. It's been moved by Director Pacho, seconded by Director Scruggs. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? So we've officially adopted the Finance Committee report, and we'll now turn to our Executive Director, Mr. Heyman.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
First, we'll talk about the power complex. Yesterday was a great day, a historic day for the city and for the board with the opening of the power complex. We're entering a new era of power generation where people can have stronger confidence that the drainage pumps will obtain the power they need and run properly. I'd like to add that static frequency changer 2 and 3, I'll give you an update. The second SFC began reliability testing last week. The third SFC will undergo testing in January. T7 anticipated to begin in Q1 2026. When we look at the water master plan updates, we have the short-term, long-term initiatives. The short-term being operational, the pilot projects, the zinc orthophosphate, ACH liquid line to support mitigation efforts for the saltwater intrusion. Midterm, we have the valve control, filter media replacements, and intake pump replacements and necessary upgrades to support efficiency. And then long-term, we have the Carrollton water plant replacement upgrades that will be organized and going forward. Next slide. The smart meter program, we have good news to report about the smart meter program. Over 133,000 have been installed. That's 95% of the population. We've made good progress with this and substantially completed 8 months ahead of schedule. So good news on the side of the smart meter. Why is that important? Because that brings more confidence, higher confidence in our billings. And that's what is needed for us to have public trust. And so I think this is a move in the right direction. Next slide, please. Pressure monitoring. This is, once again, I've always said we need to embrace technology. And we have the pressure monitoring system that allows us to look at pressure in the system and find out exactly where the issues are and be more strategic in addressing low pressure situations. Over 4,500 Allied meters have been installed. They've able to isolate potential buried bottlenecks. Valve failed, have either closed the ones that needed to be closed. Repair increased pressure. And this is what you see here is a situation where the pressure was low at 9th Ward and Little Wards by 10 PCI, and they were to make the correction, and the system we were able to repair it quickly and substantially.
And increasing it by 10 is huge.
Yes.
In terms of the pressure. I mean, that's a big deal.
And to be able to do that, you needed that very exact information that the pressure machines gave us.
It's perfect.
With the city reimbursement status, SWPNO has been a proud partner of the Department of Public Works since 2019 on major infrastructure projects, including the Joint Infrastructure Recovery Road Project, Max Pave, and other bond projects. This is a critical collaborative effort to improve the quality of life in New Orleans. We have delivered $235 million towards projects with DPW since the partnership began. As of October 31st, SWPNO owes approximately $85 million to the city across our various collaborative projects. For Max Pave, we owe around $2.9 million and have proposed a payment plan for this amount. We are also reviewing about $5 million in new invoices. Payment for these will depend on the reconciliation process. Since SWIBNO and DPW invoice each other for services rendered. We also have about 20 city-led bond projects dating back 10 years plus, for which we owe about $13 million. We are in the final reconciliation stages with DPW for these projects. Lastly, we have JIRR, which is about 75% of the owed amount. We will follow the terms of the CEA to repay this amount. So far under those terms, we have paid about $15 million across October and November using grant and sewer finance monies. The bottom line is that the city has been a great partner, and at the same time, we have acted in good faith within the terms of the contracts associated therewith. Now, we look at the lead service line replacement program. The lead service line replacement program was previously presented to the Public Works Committee in October 2024. As you may recall, the EPA lead and copper rule improvements, the LCRI, has a compliance start date of November 2027. Per the LCRI, all lead service lines are required to be removed by 2037. This equates to a cost of approximately $1 billion to replace all lead service lines in New Orleans Parish. This effort is mostly unfunded. SWIBNO has secured $86 million in SRF funds and anticipating closing on about $66 million in SRF loans in Q1 2026. So requirement of the funding is the public and private side must be lead-free to get reimbursed. Okay, so both sides have to be lead-free. LCRI requires publication of LCL inventory and annual notification to homeowners with lead, galvanized, and unknown service lines. Customers received notification letters in 2024 and 25. This year, we prioritized a contract for service line inspections and replacements geared toward protecting our most at risk at New Orleans schools and early learning centers. We completed over 350 investigations and 14 school lead service line replacements. To date, this contract has also replaced 144 residential lead service lines. An important part of this program is the selection of a project management firm. The effort to secure a project management firm to assist with this important program began several years ago as part of a bidding process. As part of a bidding protest. My final decision to reissue the procurement for the project management firm was distributed to the respondents on December 9th, 2025. We anticipate that the contract will be re-advertised in Q1 2026 due to the revisions required to the technical specifications to incorporate the responses to the questions asked during the first bid period, as well as the complete SWIBNO's internal process of contract solicitation, review, and advertisement. What that means is that there were several questions that came up during the process. We are required to review them, rewrite them so that they fit in the RFP, and make that part of the process. Ultimately, that will save time on the end of the process because everyone will have had answers to the questions that were previously asked and will probably be asked again. We recognize the importance of lead service line replacement as it relates to public health and are committed to resolving this matter promptly in order to begin work as soon as possible, as well as protect the federal funding resources already secured for this program. We were able to optimize or truncate the normal procurement process. The normal rebid timeline would take until mid-Q4 2026 for an award, whereas the optimized timeline is to have an award at the beginning of Q3 2026, bringing the date forward by approximately 5 months. What impact did this decision have on the start of work, shovels hitting the ground? If asked, the start of the large-scale construction is delayed approximately by 1 year. We were able to reduce the impact from 1 year and 5 months down to 1 year by truncating the process as noted.
Did the protest play a part in this?
Yeah. Oh, big time.
Because of the
Oh, yeah.
protest.
Otherwise, we would have gone
Rolling, yeah.
on forward. Hold on one second. Okay.
And we want to get it right, you know, and this is a large contract.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind too, that in the end, EPA and the federal government will not reimburse us if we did not follow the laws of the state, the federal laws, and our own regulation and our own RFP terms as noted in the document. If there's a question about that, we can go through all of this and in the end, not receive reimbursement. It is imperative that we do it right and that we look at it very correctly and do the right thing in this situation.
That's right.
Okay. Work continues. While the contract for a program management firm is being re-advertised, we intend to issue construction contracts for inspection and replacement of service lines. The intent is to begin procurement efforts for these new contracts in early 2026. Increased inspection will lead to an improved inventory, which is important to determine the true level of funding needed, and is the one task that needs to be undertaken with the federal funds awarded. However, future receipt of federal funds, such as those presently available via no-interest loans from the EPA, will be dependent on the board's financial position to take on additional debt. Work continues to pursue a legal path forward to be able to utilize existing fund sources on private property. A requirement of the funding is that the public and private side must be lead-free in order to get reimbursement for the replacement. All corrosion control and protection measures will remain in place, including distributing pitchers, filters for residents with known lead or known material service lines, providing water testing to our residents, as well as corrosion control. That ends my official executive director's report, but I do have one comment that I would like to make in honor of the mayor's last board meeting.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, in honor of your last board meeting with us, as board president, I'd like to say a few words to express our gratitude to you. Although I've only been here a few months, your contributions are truly known throughout the organization. Under your administration, this utility has secured tens of millions of dollars in additional funding for infrastructure improvement through the Fair Share Agreement you brokered with the state. The Sewage and Water Board not only serves the residents of New Orleans, but also 1 million of tourists who visit us every year. Everyone in New Orleans, whether you're here for one night or a lifetime, deserves properly working water services. The Fair Share Agreement allows tourist dollars to help fuel infrastructure improvements to make sure we continue to provide essential service that makes this city and our tourism industry possible. Also, in addition, we constructed 2 FEMA-funded water towers at the East Bank, which nearly eliminated citywide boil water advisories. These were part of a large program to improve the resilience of our water distribution system. We've made major strides in customer service and billing by replacing our mechanical water meters with smart meters. Now, 28% of the customers are receiving more accurate bills based on actual meter reads. We've also collaborated with the city on major pavement restoration projects and the JIRR program. Together, the city and Swibno have improved miles of underground water infrastructure while also repairing streets throughout New Orleans. And just yesterday, we had the ribbon cutting of the power complex, which will bring more reliable power to our legacy drainage pumps in generations to come. These are just a few of the many strides this utility has made in collaboration with your administration. We're thankful for your assistance and for your leadership.
Thank you very much. Give me that right up. That right up is sounding good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I just remember being at the dais in Baton Rouge and advocating for us, and it was like, listen, if toilets can't flush in New Orleans, cash registers can't ring in Baton Rouge. You know, that was my, and I'm like, look, you do the math, do your visitors care. Divided by every household. It's like 40 people living in your house, extra. Flushing your toilet, on your street. So bottom line is we have work that continues like to get done in the future, but the foundation is here. But we need Fair Share Part 2. That's what I'm gonna be working on. Fair Share Part 2. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so Ms. Yolanda.
So now we're ready for executive session, to go into executive session pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 4217 regarding Sewage and Water Board versus 3M Company, and also to go into executive session regarding interim general
Bless you.
superintendent appointment.
Okay, very good. So we need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Thomas, seconded by Director Cole. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, we'll go into executive session. All right, so I will need a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
It's been, all right, it's been moved by Director Anthem, seconded by Director Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Hearing none, we are out of executive session. Ms. Yolanda.
And so now we're ready for our presentation item, the 2026 operating capital budget. Gray?
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to present our 26 budget to the Board of Directors. Thanks go out to our Budget Director, Dexter Joseph, Kevin Garrison, Assistant Budget Director, the whole team, and our PFM consultants worked on this, pulling all this together. This is a large undertaking, as you know, and we've simultaneously been working on our Oracle implementation project while doing our normal budget cycle. So that's a 24-month project. We're about the last 2 months, so getting close, so very excited, we're very busy with that. So today we're happy to be recommending the budget that will work with our bond covenants, allow us to be balanced, and we've coordinated closely with the GSO's team to address all the needs, and we're going to walk through sort of the background, the O&M numbers, our capital numbers, and then of course looking forward to beyond just 2026. The strategic plan is our guiding principles, as you're aware, and we use the master planning by systems to develop spending parameters to really help us look at all the department asks and evaluate what ties into the strategic plan, how can we allocate resources in an appropriate manner. So we're making great progress. We've heard a lot about these today between the power complex, smart metering, meeting the consent decree deadline. I'm very happy on the technology side. Have Daryl Isles, the first Chief Information Officer, is now on board and helped immediately with this Oracle implementation and other software projects. I included this slide just for a reminder on the bond covenants that we have. This is what gives parameters to our budget preparation. We prepare the budget to ensure that we meet and exceed these covenants. A liquidity measure for days cash on hand is in our indenture for water and sewer. It has to be above 90 days based on daily operating expenses for each system. And debt service coverage, we have to have sufficient net revenues to support repaying existing debt. And then as you talk about additional bonds, there's covenants looking forward. On the drainage side, it's 1.33 times the dedicated millage, which is the case with our 9 mil bond. Water and sewer must be above 1.25 times. So we go through this exercise, water, sewer, drainage. We're the 3 separate systems. As you know, we operate these as enterprise funds in accordance with governmental accounting standards and follow Government Finance Officer Association budgeting best practices. So lots of budget professionals and people involved in this process. We have the similar priorities about maintaining our financial stability, working closely with the GSO to prioritize critical projects. This year we work with HR leadership and talking about more precisely monitoring budgeting vacant positions, separating those between active, which would be 100% funded, and those that are less than 100% funded being inactive for future planning purposes. So we'll talk about those. So all this is done in the context of not having rate increases. The last rate increases were 2020. So on this slide, I want to highlight to the board kind of where we are today, how this forms the numbers as we built the 26 numbers. So year to date through October, our days cash on hand are 95 and 178 for water, sewer. We've looked at November, obviously, and then the rest of December. So we'll, with the forecast, or with our cash flows, will be above the target at year end. Similarly, on debt service coverage, we're tracking along favorably on the expense side with less expenses than a conservatively established budget. The 2 charts, I just want to draw your attention to when we talk about our audited numbers at the end of the year. The audit's due in June, capturing all of our expenses, all the accruals, everything. We have to measure these audited cash on hand, and the number was 184 for for water, 265 for sewer, so well above the threshold. So this has been the trend the last few years in informing us that we want to strike a balance between having flexibility for operations to spend what they need to spend, because that's what provides services, and still be conservative and able to meet the targets. On debt service coverage for fiscal '24, it was 2.51 for water. We had budgeted 1.9, 2.87 for sewer versus budget 1.98. So more favorable, in other words, more coverage than originally anticipated. So here are the numbers for '26, what we're recommending. The total of water, sewer, drainage, cash O&M, plus debt service, plus estimated capital, pay-go for capital, $364 million. It's about 3.7% higher than what was adopted in 2025. And on the cash O&M side, about 7% higher. So this, we think about each system. Drainage is inclusive of the minor drainage system, which we had took over, as you know, January 1, 2025. So within that 68.1 million for drainage, 10.2 is for the less than 36-inch small diameter pipe, which Steve, the GSO's team and Steve is working with, whatever funding becomes available is what we end up spending. So we've estimated about 10 million, and the sources being the fair share, the 25% former DPW share, traffic camera revenue. So that spending or that expenses is directly subject to whatever comes in. Water expenditures are up. We have chemicals, some escalation clauses that the suppliers get, so sort of an inherent uptick there. Sewers actually lower, and I guess also unique with '26, we'll have the power complex online, so that's impacting the drainage cost structure. Some expenses related to the substation, which are drainage, they're not applicable to sewer, so it's part of the driver there. We'll talk about on this slide a little bit more as we look at our expenses by the major categories, which, as you know, personnel is the top. That's for '26 would be 129.9 million, up about 4.9%. That includes benefits as well. We have healthcare costs, our self-insured cost programs, up about 5% just on the healthcare costs that we provide all of our employees and retirees as well. Other large variances in the materials and supplies, about 9.4 million or 19% higher. So again, all the inflationary type costs that are coming through our suppliers or are having to get captured into this spending plan. So all in, there's about 386.6 million, 6.4% higher. This next slide is breaking out our personnel by these divisions, and as I mentioned, very happy the Chief Information Officer is now segregated. Those positions were previously under the CAO. We hear from all the departments, lots of organizational change going on with the deputy GSO structure, the meter data management, the way the utility looks now is obviously different than 5 years ago, and we're seeing those people plans and getting high-performing teams together through the civil service process, and all that takes people. So would be at 1,280 positions filled, 142 active positions as we start the budget. So those would be funded 100%, and that will allow us to see what managers will truly plan to recruit, bring in. If we look at the inactive tab, that's a placeholder for a future recruiting effort. And then down the road, you can now monitor those departments, say, this has been active, it can drop off. Because we will need to be cognizant of numbers and say, with technology, with a change in processes, with more modernization, you have a different FTE ratio, different number of people doing processes. So we're very, very aware of that. But again, wanting to support building high-performing teams, training people in their skills to serve the utility and the community. This next slide is our coverage requirement. This includes the operating revenue, very important. This is relatively flat, about 2% growth between water, sewer, drainage, no millage roll forward. We have the same 3 millages, as we'll talk about. It's changing very soon. But really, the top line revenue is flat. The fair share, want to talk about that, it's been said, but very critical program that, since inception, 92 million collected. We have about 3 million. The Infrastructure Advisory Board has already approved for the water system, so that's in the 124.1 million dedicated to 2 specific water treatment plant projects that are very important. So that's supporting these numbers, allowing us to have cash reserves to do projects that are needed. It allowed us to do the power complex, a good chunk of funding. It allowed us to do smart metering. So that fair share, that differential investment, the city through Mayor Cantrell's administration is really made a difference in sort of the reason we are in the position we are. So looking ahead, we as was said, we need that 2.0. We need more of that. That's what makes a difference. So this spending plan would result in a projected debt service coverage 1.72, 2.17, and then the drainage coverage 3.15, secured by the 9 mil tax. So we believe this would be meeting the operational needs and keeping us within our bond covenant boundaries. Next few slides, I'm going to talk about the capital program. We do the budgeting together. We have to preserve the rate revenue as much as possible. Whatever's left after our cash spending or debt service, we reserve for PAYGO capital financing. Through Randy's leadership, we really leveraging our infrastructure financing team. We have an active team making the asks, looking at creative financing avenues, and really just all the things we could fill up the bucket to do to move projects forward. So we know we have aging infrastructure. We know we've had deferred CIP over decades. So just attacking those methodically and with a creative mindset is going to continue to be important. We met with our bond rating agencies really the first month or so after Randy was on board. We talked about, they looked directly at our audited financial statements, how much capital hit the books, what was delivered. You say you have a lot of deferred CIP, what did you actually do? So hearing their feedback that they're encouraged by these investments that have been made and are hitting the books, again, affirms what's been said about continuing to get work done and move the utility forward. So we'll be continuing that under Randy's leadership, and the infrastructure financing is a dedicated person, works in the GSO Business Services. It's been very helpful in that regard. So this slide is just an update on where we are with capital budgeting through the end of this year here in Q4. I was very, very proud to participate in the ribbon cutting yesterday, and the recent achievements with smart metering. Special thanks, to the procurement teams that did all those contracts, led all those, the contract administration team that had to let the contracts get all that work. So there's a lot of back office work that doesn't get talked about as much, but really supports all this very important capital project delivery unit, accounting, finance, getting invoices processed. So look forward to continuing that with these other projects. Once you do a few, you can see the momentum building. LCR, Randy talked about earlier. We do have the 86 million loan. We're pursuing the additional 66 million. The wastewater treatment plant upgrade is another major project. We have 38.9 million Louisiana DEQ loan. We've done a design phase, now advertising the first construction portion of that. So that's both East Bank and West Bank wastewater treatment plants planning to be upgraded. We talked about the JIR program. We're working closely with the city on the necessary extension to continue that. So we appreciate the partnership and support that's been provided by the city. The rest of the remaining projects, these smaller, it's all relative, but PAYGO-only funded projects were done in the tune of about 24 million. This year, DPS 3, 4, and 15 had repairs. We had a number of fire hydrants had to be purchased, the sanitary sewer point repairs, and of course, these technology implementation projects, the Oracle financials, and the software development costs for all the major software projects, about $5 million this year. So that leads us to these next two tables, and these are a summary of about 155. We have project line items that is our capital budgeting. So what we do is just summarize these into both the needs, working with the GSO's office, and then the next table is uses. So all in, this about $359.9 million of needs for fiscal '26, and there's funding of about $250.9 million. So similar to previous years, we have a deferral of those situations that they're not funded. And largely, those are kind of in the middle, those projects that are sort of in this $1 million to $5 million range that without a dedicated external funding source, we'll be working with the GSO to see what breaks, what's the most critical, having to deal with it kind of at a as-needed emergency basis. Line 14, the green infrastructure, that's a $900,000 funded NDR grant. So happy to see that as a project this year. And again, the shared services are technology as well as vehicle fleet. All the facilities, as you can imagine, this building included, are old, have improvement needs. But we'll be working with the GSO, doing what we can with the smaller projects. The mega section, I did want to mention, reiterate on the water quality master planning. This is GSO's talked about. We've talked a lot about power, talked about sewer with the consent decree. The water treatment plant is the next big area that needs to be tackled. The last update, like 1959, so we have a lot of old equipment that will need to be addressed. This next slide, the capital discussion often leads into the bonding capacity discussion. How come the water sewer system or drainage to go out and bond to address some of these needs? So if we look ahead, 2026 to 2031, this is a call to action in terms of policymakers taking decisions to address funding and rate revenue that is needed. You need regular rates or net revenues to support bonding to pay it back to the ratepayers in future years. So for drainage, tax bonds are dedicated by the millage. We have 369 mil. 6 mil, as was indicated earlier, expires in 2027. 9 mil expires in 2031. So each of those being within the next 5 years, truly a call to action. We've been talking about this with the board. We'll be coming to the board with our rate study with the stormwater fee and just partnering with all of our partners and stakeholders in the community to really tell the story, provide transparency and data, show what projects need to be done in terms of what it's going to take. We know services need to be increased, but with the storm water fee, taxes combination, you can easily add 50 million or so, say, revenue to address this. You have minor drainage as well. So all these are actions which we will be needing to take sooner rather than later.
I have a question. Now, I believe that we would be able to address both of those millages. I mean, it'll be a separate vote, but couldn't they both be put forth at the same time?
Yes.
Given the timing, you see, I mean, it may even be where we structure it, because it's a vote of the people, but structure it to where it is their vote on drainage across the board. So that stormwater fee, the mill that expires in 27, the mill that expires in 31. I'm just saying it may be able to be presented
Yeah, that's.
To the
some
community
discussions
as
that
a
we've-
whole.
We've had, and agree with that point, because it provides a sort of a consolidated, easily understood
Right.
revenue source, all be tied together in a consolidated millage stormwater fee. So we'll be working on that with Ralph Tellis and the strategy committee, so looking forward to that. Similar discussion, little different bond indenture for water and sewer. We have a general bond revenue. We pledge the rate revenue to secure those bonds. And there's something called an additional bonds test covenant when you talk about adding debt or doing more bonding, and you need to be able to project into the next 5 years that you would meet those covenants with that additional debt service requirement. So just working with PFM, our financial advisor, doing a simple extrapolation, looking at 5 years ahead. We know expenses have inflationary tendency to 3% growth, nominal revenue growth, so relatively flat. And we do that exercise, and the existing rate covenants would be at risk in 2029 for the water system. So that means you got to make adjustments. You have to plan ahead. You have to, go back through what are you going to do to produce net revenues, rate increases, expenses, different services. So all those things factor in, and both on the water and sewer side, the additional bonds covenants are below the needed action levels. So we haven't issued bonds on the water system since 2015. We issued bonds in sewer in 2020. These other bonding projects we've done with SRF, federal, have been subsidized at 0% or low interest. But the traditional bonding, this is the formula you need to do. And ultimately, as we talk about, we look at other utilities, Randy's leadership, this is something that other communities face, but the more we can get the community buy-in, that more routine steady increases need to be considered. We'll always do the creative financing as much as we can, but through steady rate increases, you can invest in the system. You can plan ahead, not be so reactive. So we'll be working, with the board, and on this slide, talk about next steps, but really just the call to action to say we need to make the ask of the community to invest in better services. The rate-making process with the council, we need to, be persistent and clear and provide all the data, all the transparency, all the support to make that ask. Just looking back in history, since 2020, the last year of series of 10% increases in 2020. We started working on a water and sewer rate study 2022. We've been single digit and more on the water side, and just a nominal increase sewer, and the reception from council, was not good at that time in 2022. 2023 comes around, you have millage roll forward every 4 years. We did not roll forward the millage. So each of these actions have consequences on the revenue that we have to allocate and resources to provide. So that'll all be teed up again with Randy's leadership, and starting with the stormwater fee, with the water and sewer rates soon to follow, to look at how these systems can be funded from revenue side to get the most, to improve services. Fair share, as I mentioned earlier, again, that's nice. It brings in the tourism that's using the system, other state sources, capital outlay. We've already worked with the list and the delegation on this next legislative session. So all those factors will continue to push every day, work with the GSO. We have good relationships been developed between budget, finance, infrastructure, financing with the GSO, and just continue to push these initiatives forward and take advantage of Randy doing this in other cities, Philadelphia, and Randy, we met with our financial advisors, talked about some creative things they did in Philadelphia, and again, look forward to working with Randy and his experience in this and tackling this for each of our 3 systems. So any additional questions? We do have our regular resolutions, happy to answer.
Any questions?
I had a quick
Director
question.
Thomas?
Yes, under your personnel slide, it had the vacant active versus the vacant inactive. Is that a budget that was allocated for those positions that were vacant, or were they just, because I saw the change between 2025 and 2026. Is that saying that they have those active positions that are already funded, that's in the budget, or how does that
Yes.
work?
Yeah, for 26, if it's vacant active, it'd be 100% funded. So yes,
It's
it's funded.
100% funded?
If it's
Okay.
inactive, it's 75% or 50, it's something less than 100. So that would be a placeholder to plan for recruiting the second half of the year or some other portion of the year.
Thank you.
Thanks, you can leave that slide up. So I'm particularly concerned about our comms line. And so we just talked about how important our efforts moving forward are going to be with engaging and educating our constituency. And, you know, when I see a one-person show, number one, it makes me want to put my arm around them because it means they're carrying the whole office by themselves. That's what I insinuate when I see that. And so I'm concerned when I see vacant inactive for the other positions in that department. And I'm hoping that's something that, you know, looks different moving forward. But it's just, you know, we're talking about what our heavy lift is going to be. It's all around comms.
If I
Sure,
may,
sure.
and I'll let you add also. I've talked to Sierra on several occasions, and she has a plan on growing the office, and she's trying to develop some new positions under new titles, has taken that to, I believe, to civil service. So she is aggressively working on that, even today.
I love to hear
And
it.
so there is an understanding that the communications department has to grow for us to do all that we have to do to keep the public informed so they can vote intelligently on the financial matters we're bringing before them. So we are on top of that, and she is, again, trying to get authorization to go forward with a number of positions. She also is supplemented by the contractors that she has to assist with programs like we had yesterday, getting the communications information out.
Perfect. That sounds great. And then my only other question, and forgive me, at the one committee meeting that I missed, I would have brought up, we have a line item where we discuss there's a significant decrease in our expenditure for OPEB and pension liability. And so I want to make sure we're communicating to the trustee board and all the pensioners, you know, is that reduction costs specifically, how that's broken out between the retirees' insurance benefits versus their pension liability, well, their pension, the board's pension liability.
Yeah, just a clarification, that's the non-cash adjustment for the actuarial liability that gets done through the actuary's report. Doesn't have to do with the cash contribution to pension or retiree medical. So just the change in liability as calculated by the actuary.
I guess that's what I want to get clarification on because the pension board doesn't impact the insurance liability, right? It doesn't do the OPEB, it just does the pension liability. Or are we saying that the actuary calculates those together?
Two different actuary reports.
That's what I'm getting at. It's two different reports, but on this, it's one line item. And I don't want them to be confused if they see this and think, oh, the liability for pension was reduced by $2 million, but that's a combination. That's a net.
Yeah, we could separate those out in the future. There's two separate distinct line items and calculations.
Yeah, so it's clear for them. Yep, thank you.
If I may, I also want to note that with the lobbyists and financial advisors, both of them, I've lit a fire under them to say we need to find as much funding as possible. I've already gone to Washington, talked with the Jones-Walker group on lobbying for us. I told them I want to meet with the congressmen, the senators, but I also want to meet with the staffers who are behind the scenes, who are putting the dollar amounts together. And they said that he would arrange those type of meetings for me, and I'm going to light the fire that we're there and beat the drum loudly that we need funding. With the financial advisors, I also met with them on a Zoom call. And with them, I stressed that we have to think outside the box, that we can't just say no. If there were financial initiatives that we tried to do during Katrina and they didn't work, maybe we dust them off and try again. And we also think of new things that we can do. I told them about what we did in Philadelphia. We had 100-year century green infrastructure bonds. It's a different economic time, but maybe we can think of something outside the box in that arena to go forward. So again, I'm trying to light the fire under the lobbyists so we get more out of Washington and under our financial advisors. So we think of it as far as pen to paper, what more can we do?
I like it. It's great. Any other questions, comments from the board? Okay, hearing none, thank you very much. Gray, you've done a great job since you've been with us. How long has it been now?
5 years.
5 years. Wow, man, time goes fast. Well, thank you very much. And so we do have, Ms. Yolanda?
Yes, we have 3 separate action items regarding the budget. The first one will be Resolution 198, 2025, the 2026 operating budget, so we'll need a motion.
Okay, and we do have to do these separate.
Correct.
So I need a motion to approve the operating budget 2026, Resolution 198-2025.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Director Kennedy, seconded by Director Cole. Any questions?
So Mayor, my Director of Budget,
Okay.
we have to do this by roll call.
Oh, by roll call vote, very good.
Thank you,
So we have a
Director.
motion by Director Kennedy. We have a second by Director Cole. And no questions, and we'll now go with the roll call vote.
Mayor Cantrell.
Yay.
Director Pacho.
Yay.
Director Duplessis.
Yay.
Director Kennedy.
Yay.
Director Cole.
Yay.
Director Howard. Director Anthrop.
Yay.
Director Thomas.
Yay.
Director Scruggs.
Yay.
Councilmember King.
All right, so we have all yays, no nays, and the resolution passes. We'll move to Resolution R199-2025 for Capital Budget Sewage and Water Board. We need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Director Anthrop, seconded by Director Duplessis. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll prepare for roll call vote.
Mayor Cantrell.
Yay.
Director Pacho.
Yay.
Director Duplessis.
Yay.
Director Kennedy.
Yay.
Director Cole.
Yay.
Director Howard. Director Anthrop.
Yay.
Director Thomas.
Yay.
Director Scruggs.
Yay.
Councilmember King.
Thank you. All yays, no nays, and we've officially adopted the capital budget 2026. And we'll move now to Resolution R200-2025 for our 2026 operating budget and 2026 capital budget blanket appropriations. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Pacho,
Second.
seconded by Director Anthrop. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll prepare for roll call vote. Yay.
Director Pacho.
Yay.
Director Duplessis.
Yay.
Director Kennedy.
Yay.
Director Cole.
Yay.
Director Howard. Director Anthrop.
Yay.
Director Thomas.
Yay.
Director Scruggs.
Yay.
Councilmember King.
Okay, we have all yays, no nays, and we've officially adopted the operating budget and capital budget blanket appropriations. The next on the agenda, I'll ask for a motion to defer.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Director Kennedy, seconded by Director Anthrop. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, so we have deferred the action item D on the agenda. Moving now to corresponding resolutions. Ms. Yolanda?
We have 11 corresponding resolutions for approval. Resolution 151, Resolution 66, 2025, Resolution 167, 2025, Resolution 168, 2025, Resolution 169, 2025, Resolution 170, 2025, Resolution 175, 2025, Resolution 176, 2025, Resolution 177, 25, Resolution 178, 2025, and Resolution 149, 2025.
Very good. So we have resolutions that have been read into the record. We need a motion to approve in globo.
So moved.
It's been moved by Director Thomas,
Second.
seconded by Director Cole. Any questions? Hearing none, we need a, all in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions? Okay, we have officially adopted all corresponding resolutions. Ms. Yolanda?
We have information items for the board members to peruse at their convenience, and we also have no public comment, so we are ready for adjournment, Mayor.
Okay, very good.
For adjournment, we have some comments. So Randy prepared some, our executive director prepared some great eloquent words for you. And I think I dropped the ball in the presentation, so we're gonna pivot a little bit and take some liberty. But Randy, you want to come over too? Because pictures
Thank
will
you
be
very
better
much.
with you in it.
You know,
than
one
me.
thing, Sewage and Water Board always has the best swag. I mean, this is the best looking award for recognition. Thank you.
I think you know as a board how proud we are to serve with you.
Thank you.
I know certainly when I got to sign up, I've always been a fan of Sewage and Water Board because their employees stay when I usually don't. And when I saw the leadership of the team that you lead as the president of the board, I said, this is where I would like my civic engagement to extend. And so it's been an honor, and I'm sure I echo everyone's
Thank you.
sentiments. And of course, yes, the swag.
This is
nice.
beautiful.
It's nice, right?
This is beautiful.
Right.
I'm keeping
Small
this.
sentiment for
Thank you very
appreciation.
much.
Congratulations.
So,
Okay, we'll take a
one-
photo over here.
Okay.
Mr. Terry, get behind.
You all
Okay,
do one now.
that's right. Thank you.
Yeah, you all do that.
No.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you,
All right.
She comes this way. We can do it.
Okay.
All right, and looking forward, everyone, and those are good smiles, good. And perfect, thank you.
thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
And thank you, Dr. Duplessis, being my pro tem all the time. And thank you. So thank you all. And one of the things we will need, and I've said it at the Board of Liquidation meeting at my last one. Now, the Board of Lic has appointments to this board, as you know, and Director Kennedy is serving there. But I've encouraged them to move forward on their placement of another board member because their spot is vacant. And so I've said that they really need to move forward. Because the Board of Liquidations, serving on that board, there's an obligation that those members have to serve on the Sewage and Water Board. So we have a situation where some of the members can't serve. And so I've just said on the public record, we need to fill the seat. So no one, if you're in a position and you're on a board, you have obligations and we have to meet those obligations. And the utility deserves that. So hopefully that will move forward regarding a board member coming from the Board of Lit, because there's a vacancy right now.
The state requires two.
The state requires two.
Yeah, the state
And
statute
so there'll
requires
have
two.
to be decisions made on that for board members who, cannot, then they'll have to be replaced to do. Because we have to be held accountable, everyone, and that means Board of Lic too. So anyway, thank you. We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, moved by Director Thomas.
That one.
All right, Director Duplessis. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all so much.